Hello everybody and welcome to today's lesson. A lesson I've been thinking about making all week, and so finally here we are. And I've got my gem guitar here that has a harder fretboard, I think, for people to for the audience, but I love playing it, and I'm using that today. And today we're going to go over continuation of the circle of fifths, why you do need these concepts, but you don't need that visual as far as I'm concerned. So maybe you don't need the circle of fifths, but you kind of do because, well, you still want the information, but you can use your guitar fretboard as we discussed in the last video. Now, the last video, I realized after it was too late that the guitar never had any sound. Once again, there's just this stuff will just trick me up any chance it gets, but today I made sure that I got some guitar sound. It might be a little louder than my voice, but that's what we're dealing with today. Okay, so what are we going over today? Okay, modes, how to find modes on your guitar without using the circle of fifths. I watched this other video, I did some research to see what else I was missing with the circle of fifths, and someone showed how, well, you can, if you put your thinking here and look at all the notes to the right of the circle, you'll come up with this, this mode and that mode. But I personally wouldn't think of all that to start playing those on my guitar fretboard. I mean, here we go. I'll give you some modal practice right here. So let's hear what modes are. Here's an E. We're ringing out a pedal tone. That is going to really be what's responsible for bringing out this mode. We don't have a rhythm to really help this out, so we can kind of get away with some noodling here. I'm going to play these different scales that elucidate these modes. And but what you're hearing is what I play versus this tone, not necessarily this technical explanation that you get from, let's say, E to E, since we're using E as our bass note here. Well, let's start with the mode. Let's get right into it. Here's let's just start with a Phrygian, for example. If someone said played Phrygian, I can just go right into it. There, I'm just going for what I know is the E7 shape, part of it. There's E major, triad, 4. And playing ideas, that are not just solely scale based to break it up, but because I know the shapes so well. Let's go into Dorian. I'm hitting this note a lot because that's the character note of Dorian. If I was just playing an Aeolian, it would be this character note. Here there's a little bit of a different sound when you switch those notes out. Kind of a regular sound there. Regular Aeolian is kind of neutral, standard minor. Dorian, however, has that hope. It's a little bit of a brighter, lifted up mode because the note is higher. The character note is higher. And for example, Lydian. Let's go into Lydian. There's the character note again. Make a Lydian progression. I keep on hitting the character note. How do I know these character notes? Let's go over that today. So it's going to sound like this is just a modal lesson, I guess, but the gist of it is how you can use your guitar fretboard to know modes, not using a circle of fifths. So, and then we're going to also go over what we did in the last video, how to find the relative minor, when we discussed the L shape for the 1, 4, 5, and then you go down 3 frets down. So wherever you started, here we're on what, B sharp or C flat? Oh, sorry, that's B. Sorry. Did I really say B sharp and C flat? Okay, so B. To G sharp is the 6 minor. The 2 and the 3 are the L shape underneath that. So anyways, that's how you find your relative minor. Done. Modes. There's, 2 different ways we can tackle this visually. And I want to show you something neat here. First of all, they showed how you could even know like brighter versus darker modes. What are we talking about here? Well, because people get confused with like finding modes, there's a mode order on the scale. Let's write that down here. This is the modal order in the scale. If this is like, say, do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, and do again. See, we have two half steps between mi and fa and ti and do. Or we could even say like C, D, E, F. I don't know why that copied the A there. That was weird. And G, A, B, and back to C. Okay, so the modal order is Ionian. We're just going to use the first letters here. Dorian. Let's make these all caps lock. Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. We'll just put a little, use a star for that one. So we know that that's Locrian, not Lydian. Now, we should know that this is a major mode. This corresponds with the minor chord. Whoops, we screwed that up. Major mode, minor mode, minor chord, minor mode, minor chord, minor mode, major chord, major mode, major chord, which is also the dominant chord, Mixolydian, major, and Aeolian is minor. I'm sorry, we want an M there for minor, and this is the diminished. Okay, so all we're going to concentrate on, for all intents and purposes, just like every other lesson, is the Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, and Aeolian. And you should know, you can know that these are, you can make this quick chart here to start knowing, you know, just like your chords, this is the same as the chord scale, and you should know your chord scale. And to do that, you have to know intervals, just for the beginners that are getting lost here, that are coming to this channel that don't know anything, like I was at one time. Simple intervals, just the same way that chords are major or minor, because of the scale. You got to go back and watch. If you're confused, like, well, why would that be major? Why would that be minor? What makes that major and minor? It's because if you take these, every other note that the chords are made of, like say C, E, and G, if you're following along up here on the top row, the C and the E are 3 spaces apart. That means you have the interval here, and intervals are just simply the way notes will sound. The other notes in the sound relate to the very first note you chose. So whatever scale I've chosen, let's say I put my here on a D, this note, it's going to have a relation to that note. There's a relationship. There's a sound relationship. There's the sonic relationship. I keep on changing the terminology here as I go refining it, but there's a sonic relationship, a sound-based relationship between these notes and the original note you chose to start your scale with. So this one right here, the minor third and the major third, is what these two are called, and they will define whether a chord is minor or major. As you can see, if we start with C and we choose the F, we've gone to the flat 2, the major 2-step, and then the flat third, and that's why some of these chords are minor, because this chord, this sequence of notes, this pattern creates major chords and minor chords. Cool. Hopefully we are square there. Rewind the video if you're not. So moving on, trying to keep the beginners in tow here. We have an order in the scale of chords, and then the corresponding modes are just simply the same thing. The notes will have, if I start on the D note, you can see I'm going to a 2 and a flat 3 is the second note of my scale. That scale will sound minor. Even though I'm using all the notes from the C major scale, if I start on D, the sound will create a minor mode, but not so much by itself. But if I use a pedal tone, Now there's a D, and I'm going to play all the white keys on the piano, which are the scale, the C scale. Well, the piano doesn't want to ring out just that one note. As a matter of fact, well, I don't think it doesn't want to work. I don't think it's going to work together. Hold on a second here. They only want to work one at a time for whatever reason. This sound setting, weird sound I got. So we're just going to do that, and then that's all the notes of the. I didn't do much different there. I wasn't thinking about the D Dorian scale. I was thinking about C major to have my pool of notes correct. And I let the note that was ringing create the minor Dorian sound because your ear relates all those tones together. So this is why I get so frustrated when I see people like, oh, well, this is Mixel or this is Dorian. I mean, that's true, but that's not what you do when you're jamming. And when you want to just riff around the whole fretboard, you want to know the whole C major scale, how that works, and you're going to automatically sound by like Dorian as long as there's a low D note happening in the bass. That probably would have even been better. Okay. So now what we want to do also to understand today's lesson, to understand this thing about brighter versus darker modes that the circle of fifths can tell you, you can use your guitar for that too, or you can use a simple memorization, which I'll write down here. You know, it sort of would help to... All right, so here in the middle here, we're going to put, at the top, we're going to have our happy modes, our major modes. You have 3 major modes and 3 minor modes. You can see right here, there's 3 major chords and 3 minor chords that we're dealing with. Just the same way that when we learned our major 1, 4, 5, and then our 6, 2, 3. So you have, you want to know this, that you have your Aeolian scale is the natural scale in the middle. As a matter of fact, we're going to put, major on top. So we want Ionian on top. And then we want Aeolian on the bottom of that, straight up and down. To the left side, we want our darker scale. So what's darker than Ionian? That would be Mixolydian. What's brighter than Ionian? That would be Lydian. So we have on the other side, it got interrupted here a little bit, but no big deal. We got on the darker side of Aeolian, we'll have Phrygian, and on the lighter side of Aeolian, we'll have Dorian. And there's a relationship here that is going to come up later. So let's, you can kind of think of these as, let's draw something here. Let me go back, let me get my drawing tool out here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Draw. Luck of the draw. All right, yeah, I should do right there. Okay, so I want to draw an arrow here. Lydian and Dorian. This is neutral. This is brighter. Wow. And darker. D for darker. And in the past I've drawn like something like this, like this, and this, and this, and kind of went like, use the eyes for. That's pretty dark. Oops, I'm trying to go level here. That's pretty neutral. And this is somewhat melancholic, and you could do the same eyebrows up here, but just use a smile instead. So you would have a smile, and a smile, and a smile, and with the same, like, I did this in the beginning because it just kind of, just helped me like go, okay, I get this now. You got just a more sinister version of major, if you're in mixed Lydian, so to speak. I don't know, it's just a little bit more jamboree, that kind of thing. We have plain vanilla Ionian, plain vanilla minor, and then Lydian would be like a little brighter. You got Joe Satriani, you got songs about, spirits and flying and angels. Are going to use kind of like a Lydian sound a lot of times. Like I said, Satriani, I think Rush Free Will is kind of a Lydian-based tune. And Dorian, some police song, whatever. I don't want to, let's not get lost in examples here. Let's say you get this, okay? We need to have this laid out on the fretboard, and it's super, super cool how it lays out here. So if I were to want to think about this on my fretboard, it's going to be so easy. And it's also the same, I guess I'm going to talk about, the final topic we wanted to talk about today is secondary dominance, and you use the same technique. So I'm thinking about like, here we have the, good Lord, why am I doing that? Boy. Okay, let's see, we have the E string. Okay, let's go E, A, D, G, B, and E. So A string on the guitar fretboard. I'm not going to draw the fretboard because I got to make this lesson a little bit as concise as possible today. I think you guys can follow along. If I got a note on my A string, this would be the B, the C, the D, 5th fret is there. Let's say I got a D, E, F, G. Let's use G. Okay. What's above G? The well, what is the 5 of G? That's usually D. Let's see. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. We're at the 10th fret of the guitar. Should be on this 0, the open string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So something screwed up here. E, F, G, A, B, C, and D. The 10th fret of the guitar. All right. So that being said, there's the secondary dominance. It's always whatever. There's always a 5 above a 1. Whatever your 1 is, if I take a note and say it's my 1, any note I can do that with. And I'll usually pick the A string because, well, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then A again. and whatever is above it is the 1. So there's my secondary dominant. So if I want to get to a G, and I'm, let's say in the key of G, well, okay, that's going to be the 5 chord in the key of G. But let's say I'm not in the key of G, I'm going to a G, then I'm not in particular in that scale. I can still use the D dominant chord, so that would be the so the G opens into rest, and I can even do that with minor too. That sounds a little more resolved to me. That's just a little snippet of G minor. Okay, so secondary dominance, done. Now, how does this lead us into modes? Well, in the same way, if I'm considering G my 1, so this would be my 1 is Ionian, always. G major scale, so G Ionian, same thing. Ionian is the modal version of the major scale, and Aeolian is the relative minor. And as you can see from our last chart here, those are both in the middle. Ionian and Aeolian are natural major and natural minor. Now they call it natural minor. You might as well start calling it natural major too, because it just simply makes sense to do so. Even though that's not, anything any classical person is trained to know, that knows music theory. They're, how dare I say natural major, or what could be natural about it? Well, it's the neutral or natural. Just the same way you can transfer the vowel in mode to mood, and these are moods. So anyways, kind of neat how that works, huh? So what I want to show you is that G is our 1, this is our darker scale. Guess where our lighter scale is going to be? You guessed it, right above it here. And what's above G? That's going to be C. And so we need a relative minor then. So what's our relative minor of G? Well, that's always going to be this square here. This is our 6 of our scale, or our minor, and that is going to be an E. E, F, G. Okay, so what's above E? Well, we need to get before D, so we've got the D. What's before D? C. What's before C? B. Whoops. B is always above E. Just the same way your strings are here. B is above E. And that's just how this instrument is laid out. And then you have your, guess where your other one is? In some hard to find spot? Nope, it always lines up here. So you have what's above E and what's a few letters before C. Well, that would be A. Just the same way what's here, E, A. And right there, you have the same way of finding all your modes of your key, and how they're laid out, which your neutral modes, G and E. These are together just the same way that arrow pointed together. Your Aeolian and Ionian are together. Your Phrygian and your Mixolydian are together. Your Dorian and Lydian, lighter minor, lighter major, together. Isn't that cool how that plays out on your fretboard and you never knew it? So, but wait, your mind is going to be blown here when you see how this relates to pentatonics, and then how the pentatonics can be turned into the scales that you need to do this. So it's pretty wild here. So this being said, you've got your scales here. There's this big long thing. I wanted to go deep with pentatonics here, but I'm not sure I have the wherewithal to just spell it all out here today, but maybe I'll try it. Let's get a color going here. So if I go like this, let's try to draw some pentatonics here. So why isn't the arrow working now? This is so strange. What is going on? This is ridiculous. Why did that stop working? Did I hit numbers lock? Oh my god. Alright, so you know what really sucks? It's been one of them days where all the electronic stuff is just doing quirky stuff. I was trying to use my Spark amp earlier, and now I'm going to have to... This totally sucks. See, this is why I didn't want to get into this, because now I'm going to have to use the mouse, and this isn't going to be fast, and this is going to take forever. Why did those stop working? This makes no sense. Oh, okay, I guess I just needed to do that. Weird. Okay. See, this is what I mean. Now we can go fast, fast, fast. Let's make up some modes. So I'm going to use these separate diagrams, but this is the same. This thing I'm making here to show you the 5 different shapes is really, it's the same. I always hated drawing the separate scales like this because it creates this image like there's this separate scale, but this is, once you're playing this scale and this line here, you've played these notes, the other scale is right there connected, but it wasn't apparent when I was a young lad learning guitar. So we got here, we'll go here, we'll go here, we'll go here, and here. See, all we got to do is copy that. That we got to delete. And so I'm going to go like that and that. Okay, and we got to go like that and then back to there. All right. And I screwed up something there. And so I'm going to have to do a little bit of quick maneuvering here. Yeah, okay, just like that. And then back to yellow. Thank you very much. I don't... Well, I guess, yeah, we can use that. Cool. Yuck, how many more shapes do I gotta make? Okay, I gotta make... These are... I think that's kind of messy looking, so we're just gonna make sure that we separate these. Give them some distinction here. Should have made them different colors, I guess, but whatever. Ay. Home, paint box. Let's go make our final box here. I don't know if I did that right here. And this right here has to match there, and it does. And so we're doing that and that. Okay, super. So as you can see, these consecutive, the sides all match each other because it's the same set of notes, but you do want to know about these separate shapes. But you know what we don't realize, let's play these shapes here. I'll start on this left side here, run them through. shapes, pentatonics played together. Okay. What I wanted to show you here is that this is, I should have made some more diagrams. I should have really prepared for this lesson more because there's so much to show you here, and it's in my brain and it's not going to get into your brain unless I show you a million different things here. But okay, to start with, what you're looking at here with these pentatonic shapes, well, you really want to know that there's these two shapes. Let me go, I guess, kind of right here is the only room I got left. You're looking at this shape, kind of call that the tic-tac-toe box, and then this shape here. This system of notes is made up of these two boxes, the long rectangle and the big box, we'll call that. Long rectangle and big box. And all you need to do is learn how to hang the notes. There's only two notes that need to make up two more notes. We have 5 notes here. A regular scale is 7 notes. So there's just 2 missing notes to take any of these pentatonics and turn them into a major scale. And it's so easy to do. You just have to know where to hang. The same 2 notes will hang out on the outside of the big box and plug into the inside of the rectangular box here. So we'll go over that in a bit. But I wanted to show you this too. So we talked about how E and G, the same relationship here is, let me make something here. This relationship is Phrygian. Whoop. Phrygian. Did something just? Oh yeah. Okay. Phrygian and Mixolydian, Aeolian and Ionian, and Dorian and Lydian. And for all intents and purposes, Locrian would start from that note, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So you can see how that works there. They're in relationship from darkest on top, or you could consider the lower strings. So lower strings darker, higher strings brighter. And as well, if I were just to use a pentatonic to play these, I want to show you something here. Many people know this shape right here. You can see that there's the 2 at the top. So if I was to consider playing in this B Phrygian or D Mixolydian, all I need is a pentatonic scale to do that. And I need this pentatonic scale to straddle. I use, as you know from pentatonics, if you mount this as your root note, it's minor, and if you make this your root note, it's major. So for example, if I play that same exact shape with this note where the plus sign is on this side, on my E string, all those classic riffs, pentatonic minor, the same scale everybody knows, and a ton of solos can be played off that. But now if I move it down and put this note on the E, it's pentatonic major, even though it's the same shape. Cage chord shape inside of there. Okay, so if I want to play with this with what we drew here, I would move that down to D major. So yeah, D major, for example. So one thing to know about that is that these two notes right there, which is the bottom of this shape right here, okay? Made it in the wrong spot there, but anyways, let's say I wanted to do the G Ionian scale. Well, check out how this works. We just realized that we're playing the bottom of this shape, correct? So, once again, as a matter of fact, what I should do here is go change this color to like a elucidate minor and this color to elucidate major. So once again, right here we have, no, we're on green, so we'll go major, and we're gonna go minor. And this has got to get erased now. Lord have mercy. Okay. So minor and major. Well, check out this. Look at this scale over here. Now this scale has the bottom two. Once again, this would be major. Oh my lord. Where are my colors here? So we got green there. And we want orange over there. It's orangey special. And there, you got the this pentatonic shape will work for major and minor regular. So let's say I was in the G. Got a major bass riff in there, all because I was considering this as, and the chord tones, I can see my C major chord shape in there, and so I just used that pentatonic in place of that. So if I use this pentatonic in the same spot, I'm kind of elucidating either Mixolydian or Phrygian. But if I kind of can use this one, the roots that kind of this pentatonic scale elucidates are Ionian and Aeolian. So let's move on to Dorian and Lydian, the brighter. Can you guess which one you would use? Well, if you're looking for this shape on the third string, there's our big square there. So this is the shape that we would use right here. So you can call this your Dorian Phrygian, or I'm sorry, Dorian Lydian pentatonic, and that would be this. tried to put some of the white notes in there since we're going so much. I can throw in some of those junk notes because we're so heavily into just kind of trying to put those on off beats and seeing how they work. So you could quickly grab into any of these modal ideas just using pentatonics, and all you're missing, the actual only notes that you're missing, these two notes that you're missing, are your half steps. And those are the juicy notes and the character notes of these modes. So you are missing something, but you can get away with any modal playing just by knowing this. So let's plug in the other notes. Well, okay, let's use this shape right here. I am going to need to do here. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to need to use this. I need to do this three different ways because we have 3 happy modes and 3 sad modes, and the corresponding pattern will work for the happy and sad. So, for example, going back to this idea here, one pattern that I'm going to show you here is going to work for Mixolydian and Phrygian. Another pattern is going to work for Ionian and Aeolian, and the third and final pentatonic pattern is going to work for Lydian and Dorian. And if you laid out the major scale in a graph, you could see that you could actually overlap this pentatonic scale here, this one here where the arrow is moving there. It's kind of hard to see. That's just a dot because it's a, I guess I got it on the pencil now. I don't know why. Let's go back to the arrow here. Okay. Excuse me. That's probably why my box wasn't moving. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. But anyways, this here will work for, this will plug into the major scale in 3 different places, these 3 exact places. So anyways, but I can't really show you that now. But what I can show you is this. So, okay, we got 3 and 4 here, but let's use 3. Let's say I wanted to use this. Let's just use orange here, because orange use special. Whoa. All right. Whoops, we're going to run out of room on this one. Damn. All right, let's go here, and there, and there, and there, and there. Okay, so we've got our boxes here, our long rectangles here. So simple. So here we're going to use Ionian and Aeolian would both use this pattern here. You're going to plug in your interior notes here and here. So for example, how you can work on this in any spot of the fretboard, anywhere that this exists, like for sure we're thinking about it in this box. This is the first place I learned it, how to manage this box, and then second we're going to go show you how to, the 2 notes we also need to plug in on the outside of this shape, but that's coming up. I learned it here, but, and it took me a while to realize this, it works the same in this box, works the same in this box, or in this box, or even in this box. This is it right here. Just this shape here is straddling the difference between the G and B string. So something to always have to take into account. So, I would have, so for example, this note and this note, and I should use a different color so as not to confuse our teaching about God. That clashes terrible with yellow. I just don't like it. Bugs me. So we use blue. Okay. So like that. And if that starts to look like your Aeolian scale that you already knew, you're like, yeah, I knew that shape. Great, awesome. Now you're seeing how it all actually goes together and what these notes are all about, and how to morph your pentatonics into your major scales. And we've gone over this in other lessons, but I just wanted to show you, like, this is the same thing someone was trying to show that you can gather from the circle of fifths. But why also think about that complex circle and then try to relate it to your guitar fretboard when you can just know these things based on your guitar fretboard? And that's kind of my gist here. So there we go for give it some distinction here. So there's our pattern for Ionian and Aeolian. Now what about our pattern for, let's put the darker on this side like we did earlier. So we've got on top we would have Mixolydian, and on bottom we would have Phrygian. Just your putting the happy on top and the sad on bottom, it doesn't make a difference. You would do this to your pentatonic for each of these scales to bring it, include your half steps. Bring your 5-note scale into your 7-note scale. Pretty easy. Okay. My face there, some shadowing, making me look funny. So we got this and that, boom. So as you can see here, look at that. This is like a balance. It's using both one side and the other side. And this is using this side, and of course, so the geometry on this side would be basically the opposite. And this would be for what's the lighter version of Ionian, and if you said Lydian, you would be correct. And the lighter version of minor, if you said Dorian, you would be correct. And just like we showed here, M and P, I and A, L and D. Remember that. So Mixolydian, Phrygian, Ionian, Aeolian, Lydian, and Dorian. Or better yet, think of it like this: Phrygian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Ionian, Dorian, Lydian. Let's go here and check this out. Right here, once again, Phrygian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Ionian, Dorian, Lydian, using that pentatonic step kind of thing we did, where we used this pentatonic for these two, this pentatonic shape for Aeolian and Ionian, and this pentatonic shape to cover Dorian. And let's give that some clarity there. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right. Whoa. We're doing the wrong thing. All right. So you can see we've got the same kind of notes listed in relation to our shape there. Anyways, so now we know. And of course, in this particular one right here, the bottom notes are the same because, the 2 E strings, obviously. So going back to this, whoa, there. So now you have, so for example, let's play an E note there. Placing that on E and playing this gives me a dark sounding scale. And this side is minor, that side's major. On this one, I'll put this this side right here where the plus is. I'll put that on the E. There's our character note here because that's the only one note that changed from this one to that one. And again, we'll play this using this minor side. Still sounds minor, but this note, which is this note I'm playing here, is now the character note because we moved it from here 2 character notes away from Mixolydian, or actually this would be Phrygian since we've got our minor root. For clarity, let's just do this too. Let's make that our major root. The E note, 12th fret. You see where my finger is there? That's the 12th fret on this guitar. Okay, so now let's put this green note at the 12th fret and play these same shapes. So this means we're going to be playing the top row here, the majors. So I'm going to be in Mixolydian if I play this shape where the plus sign is. Oh, sorry. Now, in relation to Ionian, which is here, I mean, we know that's also Aeolian, but since we're dealing with our major sound now, we're using our major root, our green note, as the E. We can see that we only have one character note change, and that is this note right here. So that's our character note. Kind of sounds like a train horn, doesn't it? Would make sense if they're using a dominant chord on a train. Dominant machine, right? You hear I played a note outside the scale there by accident. Okay, let's turn our character note over to this note and see if we can elucidate just a regular major sound. Sounds pretty vanilla. Now, this character note right here, going back to this Mixolydian sound, this character note here, what we know about the Mixolydian chord, the 5 chord, is that it differs from other major chords. I mean, E major. What makes E major? The 4 chord could be the same thing. But the 5 chord has that dominant 7, so it means that it's got this note. The major would have this note. But the dominant's going to have this note. What do you know? That's the character note of the scale. The flatted 7. Switching to Ionian. Well, you know, it's the major 7 and the E, or the regular 7. So, referencing this neutral scale here, what's our character note for Dorian? Or, well, since we're using the major root here, the green root, we're in Lydian. I might do that in a progression to kind of get that. Now, how am I going all over the fretboard with this? Well, we'll wrap up with that, but first, let's just plug in the only other 2 notes we'll need to turn any of those pentatonics into complete scales. And mind you, while this using the root here, all these shapes are in the major scale. So technically, when I line this, let's say we're talking about Dorian here. Well, this square of notes here, as a technical, is the same square of notes I'm elucidating here. So that scale will be up here. So I can actually think of this shape, I just have to think of it in the right spot. Now I just played this shape because I moved up. These are all going to be linear to each other on the fretboard, and they're going to be this note and this note there would be one white note in between them. The same with this note and this note, and these two are linked together by this square, if that makes any sense. But I think it will in a second. Let's actually not get ahead of ourselves. We only need this shape now. Damn it, let's go back to orange. Okay. We'll make the corresponding shape for each one of these. And we'll go here and there and there and there and there and there. Okay, nice and quick. So we want to hang our notes just the same way here. Well, the cool thing is there's a kind of a corresponding method to all this. If I've got my square here, and of course, you know, these are together. These are the 2 separate pieces of the, in case you guys forgot, of the pentatonics. You can see that any one of these pentatonics, you can find this shape, which is this shape. Whoa. Hello. This shape. And you can find this shape. And these are the only 2 shapes that make up these pentatonics. And if it looks a little like there's one that doesn't have the shape, it's only because you're looking at the B to D string shift there. So this is the shape. You're just looking at it shifted over one, and this is kind of what hides some of this stuff from new guitarists. Some of this easy geometry. All right, so let's go here, back to here. Let's hang these notes as quick as we can, because I got to get to bed, to be honest with you. It's getting kind of late where I am at the moment. So I got to deliver packages for UPS in the morning, and it's extremely strenuous. All right, so let's put our blue notes in there. It's a little different shade of blue, but I don't care. So let's go here and here. So here, our relative shape that's relative to this box here, the pentatonics. So they have this shape and this shape. So if I was playing this pentatonic, these notes, you hang the same. These are the same exact two notes. They hang on the outside of this box, and this would be the what is that? This is the 7. So this is the what's that going to be? If this is the root, this is the 5th. So that's going to be the 4th. 4 and 7. This is the 4th, and this is the 7th. And in this case, considering this would be we're considering, you know, our idea in major here. So this would be the 7, and this would be the 4, 5, 6, 7 root. So once again, we need a 4 and a 7, or if we were considering our minor root there, we would, I should have made these orange, or I mean yellow for clarity, but let's say we're using considering this where the plus is, our minor, this would be like what, the 6 and the 2. So let's see, the minor, that's our 6th. Or we could consider that our 1. So this would be our 2, like we said, and this would be our 5 and 6, 6 and 2. Okay, never mind. But I mean, that's how it goes. Anyways, here and here, kind of like the same way it's inside, it's opposite on the outside. The same way this is a square on the left side, you have a square on the upper right side, if that makes any sense. And this would be the opposite of this. So we have our blue notes here and there. Boom. And you've got so if I was thinking about this right here, here I am, I'm thinking about Dorian. So I'd have my root here where the plus sign is. E, let's get an E going. So I need to put the plus sign on the E note on the high E string. I just played. All right, you following? So here I am in this. And the top string just copies whatever the bottom is here. You guys know that? I'm just trying to go all over the fretboard here. Thinking along one string. See how that's kind of a resolved note? It's a 5. 1, 5, 1, 1. So how did I take that across the fretboard? Well, remember this square shape right here. As soon as I can find my Dorian box, or I guess we can call that there, you can call that the Phrygian box, it's in here. I could, I'm done. I know the whole fretboard once I find this box, and it's this easy. I'm going to show you now. And it works because the entire fretboard works like this. A, B, this is just an example of the C major scale. C, D, E, F. Now we're missing G, we're going to put G there. And to cap it off, we're going to put a D there. Now you'll see that this makes a square of notes. And a wall on each side. And this, my friends, is all I need to know, because that's all the notes that there are. There's no other notes. Technically speaking, there's one of these white notes, which would be the black keys on a piano, of course. Outside, in between this side of the G, which is the same note as this side of the A. That's the only other note, but you don't really have to worry about that. It's just kind of a given. Because this is all there is, you can use this as a navigation tool to get across the fretboard. You just need to know a special kind of mapping, little kind of code to the fretboard, if you will. This square links to itself always, like right here, right here, right here, this square right here. Although we're going to consider this like the high E string right here. So if this was the high E string and I was just playing Dorian, E Dorian. Now, the notes are different because I elucidated the C major scale to show you that. But E Dorian is part of the D scale. How did I know that so quick? Because I know Dorian is 2. You'll learn this pretty quick if you do this first thing. Make one of these things and you put your Nashville numbers in one of these boxes. 1, 2, kind of neat how I left that blank. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chord, and back to your 1 chord. Just know your chord names, or use your Nashville numbers, and then so Dorian is 2, Phrygian is 3, Lydian is 4, Mixolydian is 5. 5 is major, 4 is major, 3 is minor, 2 is minor, blah, 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 blah. Because eventually, when you get really good at this, then you're going to be able to break the rules, which is what you're going to want to do. For example, today I was learning some Eddie Van Halen, Eddie Van Scalen. As per this awesome lesson, I'm going to give a Ben Eller, I think that's his name. Yeah, Eller. Sorry, Ben. Excellent YouTube guitar teacher, one of my favorites, and he did a lesson very recently, but you might see this years into the future, so it might be old by then. But the Van Halen scale, which was and not necessarily related to what we're doing here, but he can break those rules, and you can learn like why that works to break the rules like he did once you know what the rules are and how to get inside a scale and lock in the pocket in a scale. And of course in every mode like we're going over here. Anyways, let's get to the point here. So taking this, so it links down here. However, you might be, remembering that if this is the high E string, this is the B string, we have a shift to deal with between the G and the B here. So that screws our little pattern up here, but you'll notice that it's the same as the if we were plugging in our formula here that we used, where this is connected to this. We just separated them here to show you the idea, but this is connected like they are shown, say, well, here. Where's that scale shape? Well, you're using this one to plug in the different, we plugged in the Aeolian notes here, or Ionian, and you can see here how, like, you would, how they connect is what I'm trying to show you. Anyways, so we got to go here. Long story short, so we're going to go here, here. I know that my scale notes are basically here, here, and here, with the wall here, and the wall here, and the wall here, and there. Okay, where's my next? There's no gray area to me left on the fretboard. I used to be stuck in these singular boxes when my teacher told me shapes like this. Then there was another box here. And things got too cumbersome, there was always like this mysterious gray area outside any one of these singular boxes to where that needed a second of thinking. Once you know this square shape, you are in the same shape right here, and then you're in the same shape right down here. So we're going here, and then here, and then here, and then here. Whoops. Whoa. Oops. Oh. There. Now I know when I have a square on the top strings, I'm in the top of my, what I call the Aeolian box. So I'm going to be, why did that move way over there? That's crazy. Okay, we're going to keep the cursor there, make sure we do that. I'm going to go here. Why does it keep moving? So here, 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 hear ye, hear ye. Okay, so I have a box here that's broken, because that's what the deal is. Whenever I'm in this Aeolian shape, I have the boxes here. Now, when you hear people say the Aeolian scale, now you'll know why they're saying that, because what they're referring to is this right here. Remember, we said this is Ionian and Aeolian, but people tend to just speak about these from their minor root, because minor's so cool in rock, right? So we talk about these we call this the Phrygian scale, because you're considering it the minor root, but that kind of misleads you into not realizing that this is not only the Phrygian shape, but the Mixolydian shape. This is the Aeolian shape. It's also the Ionian shape, and all these shapes actually are useful for any mode. They all overlap, but you need to position these in a certain spot to make sure you're nailing the modes, getting the modes, pulling them out of the parent scale, and you do that by lining them up. But you will eventually see that you're playing all of these shapes. It's just how you're lining them up, which may not make total sense at first, but if you play with this formula enough, this will totally make sense. So you can see here we've got that original pentatonic shape here. We've got, it here, here, and here, and here, right? And so we have another pentatonic shape that's going to take place. I have a wall of notes here. So there's just, this pattern never breaks. And so, well, what's here then? Well, how can we know that? Well, if I was here, I would know that, oh, I'm in my, this is my, I could be right here. we need one of them. First of all, we've got that our big box, right? Remember we called it the big box? So we've got the big box there, and we hung our notes on this side so that these three would be empty notes, not in the scale. And as is above, so is below. So I'm going to do here and here. I'm just thinking in terms of the square. So notice also that I'll try to elucidate this in draw mode. So we had a square here, this square here. We have that linked to this square, which linked to this square, which means that we've used this pair of strings, this pair of strings, and this pair of strings. So when I get to here, if I skip above, now I'm just using this string and this string are on their own, and I'm going to pair up this string and this string. See where okay, so I have a half box there. So that must mean I have a whole box here. And let's get back to that and draw it out. So I'm going to put my square here. Like I would instantly know this. It's so easy to me. I have my square right there. And once again, there we are hanging our 2 half-step extra notes on the edge of this box, just like we described earlier for our, you should know what scale is this? Is this our Phrygian, Mixolydian, Phrygian, Mixolydian? And here we are. This is why this shape is so important, and I went over this about 4 lessons ago now. And I showed you this scale shape contains all the chord tones of the major scale, all the caged shapes, all the modes, and you've got Phrygian, Mixolydian, this root. Make the root that note, whatever note that you want that to be. Place this anywhere, and that note would be, as a root, would be Aeolian, Ionian, Dorian, Lydian. Your darker team, your neutral team, and your lighter team. So let's finish this up pretty quick so we can wrap this up and let everyone in the house go to heck to bed without me rambling with the light on out here. So we have our split box here. This pair of strings has the split box because we're at the G and B string shift. And that alerts me that I am now entering, I'm going from, this would be my, what I would call, like we said earlier, the Phrygian box, because we're referencing the minor side of it. This is my Aeolian box. This is would be the 6th note of the scale right here. Let's see if that works. This is our 1. Our 1 is always this note in the box. So that's our do of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, our half step to fa. So la, la's our 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Look at that. So of course it's a pentatonic shape here. So we're gonna go here and here and here and here and here. And let's just make a pentatonic outline. You know, we got a note there, note there, note there, note there. And of course our missing half step note is there because our Aeolian shape has that balance, and the outside, we know there's a note there. And look at where we are. We're once again, if we've built the square, we're an octave up from here. So we've completed the entire major scale. That's how I know it. So if I'm thinking about this shape, okay, so I've used the G. I wanted to play in, we know that's our major side, right? Ooh, this shape is going to be G Mixolydian. And so if I put that on a G, where's the G on our A string? Square. Square. On the Aeolian shape. Well, get a G note playing here. Go, all of a sudden I've slid up here and I might, get confused, but I know I got a square. Phrygian shape. Square. Lead it to this square. Aeolian shape. I know it's a half step even though I have no more frets. I know I'm in the Dorian shape there. Aeolian. Use my square to get the Phrygian. Slid down to Dorian. Try some chord shapes. And then I just used my ear when I got here and finished it up there, which is the 5 of G. 1 of G. 1. See how you can do that? I just went around linking up my squares, knowing that once I got to this square, it's my Aeolian shape. Once I got to this square, I'm in my Dorian shape. Once I get to this square or this square, I'm in my Phrygian shape, and that links me back to Aeolian. And from there, you're noodling the entire fretboard with every note under your skin or under your fingers, and then you know every note that's not in this scale shape is an available super tension you can use once things get bored. Gonna go for one now. See, I slid up. And slid down. Still solidifying the scale sound to your ear so I can use so I can walk up in from one chord tone to the other chromatically. You can always use those as a slide in, because then you're really putting it on like the and of a beat. As long as you can kind of, and you see, even when you're noodling, you can sort of create a rhythm, and then on the and of these rhythms, if you can work in these white tones for a cool extra, sound like you know what you're doing sound. Not exactly jazz, but you're moving in that direction for sure. So that's kind of where I wanted to leave you today. We discovered that just using our fretboard, we can know modes lighter to darker. We can know what notes are in any mode. Like here, I didn't really need to, as long as I know this pattern. This is kind of the thing with the guitar and guitar playing. You don't need to be, it's great to know every note on your fretboard. And knowing the C major scale kind of can give you that using this exact same pattern, just putting it over the C major scale and you know all your notes. But you kind of don't really have to think like that. I tend to think of Nashville numbers and interval numbers. So I know when I'm playing the third, the fifth, where a seventh is, you know, major and minor third. And then using tricks like if I'm playing in major, the higher, what I learned actually just today is that the higher you go away from the root, in the lower notes, it's easier to clash with wrong notes. But the higher you go, the more these notes sound like cool altered tones. Use that at your discretion. But then there's little tricks like using a minor third where a major third goes. But you got to be aware of these things as well. It's not something using these, I guess the ultimate point I was making that I drifted away from was that you don't need to necessarily know the note names as long as you know your chord intervals, your chord shapes in between these, where your chords lie. You know, for example, like here, there's like if I, you know, was thinking about like that is my root. Well, there's my chord tone there. There's my C major scale. That was kind of neat how that happened. But to C, there's the C note. Of course, there's the root right there. There's another one. Bites the dust. So we're going to leave you with that. I'm sure I just talked for an hour, which is my usual lesson time. And I thank you for watching. Please always like, for sure, if you liked it. And comment, because comments are great. And subscribe, you know, because you understand that it helps this YouTube jazz put me as a suggestion to someone who might need it. And I would appreciate that because we're just always trying to make the channel grow, and it doesn't grow very fast. And I think you guys, a lot of you guys that watch, think this is pretty good information. And there you go. Have a great day. Let's get this thing over with. And yeah, we'll see you next week. And when I can grab some time to make another video. And after Christmas, when this job is over, maybe I can jump on here a couple extra days and make some more lessons. So, all right, thank you. Here I am at my stop button. So have a great night. Thank you for watching. See you.